Welcome to the social sciences. So, what are social sciences? Well, there are a couple, and as ever, it is not always clear what is included and what is not. So, to begin, let's think about it. Here are 3 responses from a sociologist, an anthropologist, and an archaeologist to get us to think about it.
Yeah, so the social sciences to me are obviously a very broad, wide field of study. It can encompass a lot of different disciplines and ideas. In my work, I work a lot around the questions about the environment and society. So the social sciences can encompass questions about how we as people in our societies, in our different cultural groups, in our cities, in our different rural places, how we interact with each other, how we relate to each other. It can encompass questions about history. It can encompass questions about the future. That's what social sciences are to me.
It's the study of society. What is this thing called society? And if we think about that question, then it's a question of what do humans share? What are the things that bring humans together in particular groups to act together, to be organised together?
Social science means to me the ability to tell human stories. And that, because I'm an archaeologist, means that I can tell the stories of people in the past. And that really helps us to understand them, but also makes life better today when we can understand how they experience things, how they change their world, and we can make that potentially better in our world by changing things similarly or differently, depending on how successful it was.
Let's unpack some of this. Let's begin with the social. Social means we will be looking at society, how it works, the relationships between people and non-human objects, beings, as well as the institutions and structures we live in. And then there's the science bit, which means we'll be doing it in a scientific manner, perhaps with methods that are replicable, hypotheses that can be tested, or just in a robust and ethical manner, but more on that later. The social sciences usually encompass a range of academic disciplines, such as anthropology, sociology, politics, psychology, economics, archaeology, geography, and history too. But it all depends on whether practitioners see themselves more in the humanities or social sciences. But what's the difference? Well, social sciences tend to use methods that are scientific and can provide somewhat objective data, whereas the humanities focus on the subjective experiences and products of human endeavors. There is a lot of overlap between the 2 branches of inquiry, though. There's also a difference between the natural and the social sciences. The science part in social science comes from a long tradition in first natural sciences that extended into the social realm. Natural sciences tend to look for objective truths out there, generalizable and universal truths that help make sense of the world around us and how it works. To do this, experiments and other tools are used to measure, count, and theorize about the world around us. They use especially quantitative methods to do this. This is usually reliable and replicable. That means others can redo the experiment and come to the same conclusions. Now, the social sciences started out much the same, and positivism, as suggested by Auguste Comte and others, looked for objective measurements of phenomena to uncover what Durkheim later called social facts, which are social forces out of our control that nonetheless influence our behavior. The social sciences subsequently moved towards constructivism and interpretivism to understand the world, which see knowledge as being co-constructed, rooted in context, and an important source and expression of power. These approaches seek out subjective experiences and look for multiple truths of the same phenomena. Thus, they tend to rely on both quantitative and qualitative methods, such as talking to people, observing them, and telling stories about the world around us. So today, the social sciences use a wide array of methods, Let's hear from 3 of my colleagues about the methods they use.
So what I really like about the social sciences are that they encompass a whole range of different tools that you can bring to answer a whole range of different questions about power and agency and social structures and relationships with each other and the environments that we live in. So the kinds of methods that I use qualitative research methods, and that includes a lot of talking to people about their experiences, about their worldviews, about how they've interpreted the world around them, how they understand and make meaning of the social world. So I like to use methods such as I use a lot of semi-structured interviews, some narrative analysis. I also use some participatory action research methods, and a lot of my work is based on that, where lots of people can come together in groups and have dialogue together, and through that dialogue, through those conversations, new meanings and new understandings can be created through the process of doing the research itself. So it's not just about asking a question and finding one answer, it's actually about generating new understandings through the ways that we can talk about the problems of the social problems in the world and the solutions we want to see happen in the future.
As an anthropologist, our approach to thinking about society and culture is called ethnography. So this is as much a method as it is a way of thinking about what it is to be human.
The methods I use, I'm an archaeologist, so I look at the physical remains left behind by people, and that could be their objects, but their buildings, even their bodies left behind. And that allows me to tell personal stories about people's lives, but also the groups of people living together, how they work constructively to improve their environment. And so objects are important for us, the physical remains left behind. They tell us more than the written word sometimes.
Several times we heard about how in the social sciences we study the people and world around us to better understand it and also to change it. This is a vital point of departure for much of our contemporary work, but it builds on a long philosophical tradition. Early philosophers were always eager to explore society and our role within it, but they mainly focused on imagining an ideal society, not describing it as it is. That is the purpose of the modern social sciences. And more than describing it, we're also engaged in efforts to use this knowledge for the betterment of the conditions of life, transforming the way we live to make it, for example, more sustainable and equitable. The modern social sciences developed out of a number of revolutions in thought and our understanding of the world as mainly shaped by us, not metaphysical forces beyond our control. The scientific revolution focused on our desire to understand the world based on eternal and objectifiable laws and truths. The social sciences, therefore, are concerned with the systemic study of society and our place within it.